This morning at 8 o'clock, members of the Wareham Police Department placed 165 flags out, representing 163 officers that were killed last year in the line of duty or died as a result of on-duty injuries. 2 flags were also placed for officers that died in the line of duty in Wareham, one in 1932 and Chris Argentinas in 1999. It's Police Week coming up, and we wanted to do something to memorialize the sacrifice of these officers.
The thin blue line is all the police officers who go out every day and try to keep order from turning into chaos. Each one of these officers died doing something special in their respective communities. We go out every day, and we know it's a dangerous job, and we don't necessarily expect this, but each one of those flags represents somebody's family, somebody's children who won't have a father, somebody's parents who won't have a daughter, because they were doing for someone else.
I'm going to buy myself a bottle of champagne, and I'm going to pop that cork.
Patricia Donahue's husband, Michael Donahue, was among Whitey Bulger's many victims. He was killed in 1982.
This is an end of an era in my life here.
But as she sat on her front porch processing this news, she said she does not applaud whoever killed Bulger.
Well, 2 wrongs don't make a right. And if the man's going to die, then he's going to die. But, doesn't give anybody else that right to take his life.
Some people think he had this coming.
He did have it coming. I agree.
Inside, her son, Tommy Donahue, had very different words for Bulger's killer.
I'm glad he did it. If I could, I'd put money in his canteen for him. He's spent many years destroying my family and a lot of other families, so a guy like him doesn't deserve a nice, easy death. He deserved a slow death, and that's what I hope he got.
I think that there's one less scumbag on this earth. That's how I feel.
If a picture is worth 1,000 words, then this one must be worth 1,000,000.
This is horrible.
Neighbors have seen rats. My husband's heard movement.
I describe it as a mess.
That's an understatement. From the front, what looks like a nice house on McLarnon Road in Salem, New Hampshire. In back, boxes and boxes and boxes of computer printers.
My understanding from the owner of the property that it was some type of a recycling operation, and the market for that type of recycling, dissipated, and he was not able to move the product.
Assistant Fire Chief Jeffrey Emanuelson heads the town's Inspectional Services Department.
Certainly what he was doing with the property was not in compliance with any local code or standard, whether it's zoning or operational code or anything that way.
The house is owned by Michael Bates, who neighbors say has moved out. He actually got rid of some of the debris. These pictures show that it used to be worse, but the town says he has stopped cooperating, despite being ordered to comply.
His willingness to work with us, or his responsiveness to our efforts, it really kind of ceased last summer.
Neighbors have complained loudly for a year. Nicole Callahan lives next door.
It's gross to look at every morning when I wake up, and even when I have the kids outside playing, it's just awful.
John Manning also lives in the neighborhood and owns a restaurant in town.
He should clean it up. If he's not cleaned up, then he should be fined per day until it is cleaned up.
Engine 33, Ladder 15, a firehouse dear to Ann Coughlin's heart.
I miss my dad every single day. I have 2 kids he never got to meet.
Firefighter Richard McGee, a hero, still remembered on these very walls.
I came here with him as a child, and he would slide down the pole with us, and I was so proud of what he did.
On Father's Day 1972, Ann was 9 years old. Her father left for work early. He knew his brothers needed him.
He drove off that day, and we just never saw him again. 9
firefighters, now honored in this memorial, lost their lives when the Vendome collapsed without warning.
I'll never forget that day. 9 caskets in the Cathedral of the Holy Cross, and driving through Boston in the pouring rain, the streets lined with firefighters.
Decades and hundreds of miles later, Ann is getting ready to run the Boston Marathon for the Boston Fire Department Relief Fund. She says her dad loved to run, and with each step, she feels closer to him.
A lot of times in my training, I feel like the number 33 crops up a lot. I just see it in unexpected places. So I do feel like he's with me in this.
Her brother, Richard McGee Jr., a Boston fire chief. Her grandfather and uncle, also firefighters. And just as the Boston Fire Department has had her family's back through all of these years, she will run to help have theirs.
To get to run by this firehouse and feel connected to my dad and honor his memory is just going to be a tremendous feeling.